Hello people and welcome to this new class in where we are gonna do an exercise for practicing our new skills. As you can see on the screen, we have a layout and we will try to replicate it. This document has 4 pages. In this exercise, we will do just the first page, this one, and we will finish all the document during the course. So let's focus now on this first page. What do we have here? We have an A4 page, that is the size. We have some margins at the top, at the bottom, on the left, and on the right. We have here a kind of black box with a text inside. Then we find a kind of title with a big text box divided in 3 columns. In this text, we are using different kind of drop caps, some bullet marks here, and a page numbering at the bottom. We can see how some of these items are repeated in every page, so they should be placed from the very beginning on the master page. So let's start with the exercise. First thing we have to do is to open a new document. And then let's introduce the main details. We have to select an A4 document, so we can go over print and click A4. Then the width is gonna be 210 millimeters, height 297 millimeters. You have to memorize these measures. Orientation portrait, page 4, and don't forget to unclick the facing pages box. We could enter even more details in here as the number of columns and the space for the gather. We have 3 columns and the gather is 5. Time for the margins. Top 55, bottom 22, and left and right 30. If you have problems, don't forget, as I did, to unchain the constraints. One click here, and then I have to introduce again the margins details. Top 55, bottom 22, left 30, right 30. Everything is correct, create. And here we are. Let's open the pages menu. As you can see, we have 4 pages and 1 parent page. If we did some errors or we want to make some modification in our document, as it happens right now because the top margin and the bottom margin are not correct, then we should go over File, Document, Setup. From here we can adjust everything. So the top margin is not 55, it is 22, and the bottom instead of 22 is 52. Okay, coming back to our PDF document, let's try now to identify the parent items in all these pages. If I scroll down, we can see how this rectangular black box is a parent item, as it is the title here and the page number. These 3 items are in every single page. So let's do it. Once in InDesign again, we should go over our parent page. Double click. Then let's use the text tool, shortcut T key, one click on the upper left corner and drag till the opposite margin. Then I can release, and first of all I will adjust the size of this box. So selection tool, and from the transformation panel up here I will adjust the height because the width is already correct. Make sure to use the correct reference point. Up in the middle is correct. And then height 5 millimeters. Once the size of our box is correct, let's go inside the box to text something. Another look at our document, and we can read layout and InDesign. Don't forget to use capital letters and then layout space InDesign. I select both words and I hit the option justify all lines. Once this is done, one click outside and let's go with the colors. Let's start with the box. The box is in black. Now we are working with the text. So selection tool, fill is in the front in this main switch and I have the black here. Let's apply it and here we are. Easy. Let's go now with the text. Below the main switch we find these 2 options, formatting affects container and formatting affects text. Let's click this second option. Text is already selected, and then either from this main switch or up here I can select a different color as it is the white one. One click here, I close this menu and everything is correct. One click outside and let's continue. Going back to our PDF, we can check how this text is centered in the middle of the box. It has some margins on the left and on the right. The font is a kind of sans serif font, and the text, apart of being in capital letters, has, I could say, a big tracking. So we should try to replicate all these properties. Once in InDesign, I will zoom in, one click on my text box, and then let's use the shortcut Ctrl or Command B. The text frame options is open, and from here we can adjust the vertical justification. I expand this Align menu and I click Center. Preview on. Then we have as well a left margin and a right margin. This can be controlled from the Inset Spacing feature. Left Inset Spacing 5. We can see on the preview the result. Right 5 as well. More or less it's okay. Time to work with the font. Double click, text tool, character formatting controls on. Font Arial, family regular, size 9 points, and tracking 470. I click the upper arrow while I hold down Shift key, so I can go faster. 475 is correct, more or less correct. The family of the font, I think, is bold more than regular, so let's change it. Bold, now it's better. And once everything is correct, selection tool, one click outside. As we have been working on the parent page, this item is already placed on the 4 pages. We can check it. Page number 1, page number 2, page number 3, and page number 4. But let's continue working on the parent page. So double click here, and then it's high time for the title. Another look at our PDF document, and then we find that we have here a big number, then a vertical line, and then a kind of title or subtitle. We have to do these 3 things now. To know the position of these elements, we should measure the distance between the top part of the page and the beginning of these items. I will give you this information. The distance is 56 millimeters. So let's start with the new task. Zoom out a little bit. Then I will support myself with a horizontal guide. Click and drag from the upper ruler. I release here, and then distance 56 millimeters. Enter. Now I have my reference. Let's go with the big number. Text box. Click and drag. Zoom in, and then let's go over. Type, insert special character, markers, current page number. Let's apply some format on this number. I select the number. The number right now is a letter because we are using this feature about page numbering, but in the end it will appear as a number. Font, Arial, family regular, size 36. Done. Selection tool, one click outside. We can select again this text box and adjust the size. Let's go with the vertical line. Line tool. One click on the guide, then Shift key, and I release. Stroke 2 points and length of the line 32 millimeters. Reference point correct, and then I change the length. I set 32. Correct. New text. Text tool. One click and drag. I type in the new text. Playing with drop caps. Let's introduce a paragraph break after with. If we find problems with the visualization of the different characters, I strongly recommend you to go over Type Show Hidden Characters. Shortcut Ctrl-Alt-I. Time to apply format to this text. I can select the text, and the font is Arial, bold, size 12 is correct, and that's all. So we can click outside, reduce the text box to make our layout cleaner and cleaner, and one click outside. Let's go now to the last parent item. I'm talking about the page number down here. So text tool, click and drag, and I create this box between the middle column. Then again, we should go over Type, insert special character, markers, current page number. Once here, Ctrl B, text frame options menu on, align, center. Okay, next step, click on align center up here. Perfect. Let's apply some format on this number right now. For doing this, we need to select this character, then Arial again, family regular, size 12 points is okay, and that's all. Selection tool, one click outside. Time to check how these master items are working on the rest of the pages. Page number 1. Zoom out using the hand tool. Double click. Now we can check how the big number is correct and the little number down here is correct as well. If I scroll down, I can check how the numbers are changing successively. So let's jump to the next part of this exercise, the main text. We have here a big text box divided in 3 columns, and as I said in the beginning of the exercise, we find different drop caps and some bullet marks. Let's do it. Page number 1, text tool, one click on this upper left corner, click and drag till the opposite corner, then I release. Let's apply the format for the text from the very beginning, and take in mind that now we are working on page number 1. We are not working on the parent page any longer. So font Arial, family regular, size 9 points. Then right click, fill with placeholder text. Here we have the result. We are working just with one column, so we need to use the text frame option menu. Shortcut Ctrl or Command B. Here we are, columns 3. Gather 5 millimeters, so we match our margins, our layout. We can see the preview and everything looks okay, so we can go on, but we have a problem in the beginning of the text box. If we check again our PDF, we can see how the first paragraph is starting, keeping some distance from the end of the vertical line. So let's do it trying to be accurate, but without becoming crazy. So the easiest way is to go inside the text box and then use several times a paragraph break. Let's do it. So the text is going down. More or less here it seems to be correct. We can change it later, so don't worry. But now let's focus on the first letter. If we check the PDF, we find a big L, and that L, that letter, is not going down but going up. It's not a common drop cap. In order to do this, we need to select the first letter, type in L, select this character, and then just increase the size of the font. We can hold down Shift key till we find our desired size. 40 looks okay. Then selection tool, one click outside. Double click on the hand tool so we can have a panoramic view over our page and our layout. Let's continue with the next drop cap, this Q. This Q is not going up but going down, right? And it is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. At the same time, the Q looks a little bit squeezed, so we'll have to use a transformation in the horizontal scale. And there is some space between this character, the big Q, and the rest of the paragraph. So it seems that we have here some kerning. Anyways, let's do it. Zoom in. I will use the beginning of this paragraph. So firstly, one click inside the text box, and then I will introduce another paragraph break. Here we can see this character, this hidden character. This character is called the pilcrow, and it means we have here a paragraph break. Anyways, let's select this first letter, and I will type in letter Q using capital letters. Then I select this letter, and using the paragraph formatting controls, we should go over drop cap number of lines. Then we increase this value till 7. As you can see, this Q is much fatter than in our example. We need to squeeze it. For doing this, we will use the horizontal scale. So let's go back to the character formatting controls, and then horizontal scale, and then let's reduce this value till 50%. Here we are. It seems more or less okay, but we need some distance between the letter and the rest of the paragraph. To use the kerning, we don't have to select a specific character, but we have to place the cursor in the space between the two characters we want to open. In this case, here, after the Q and before the E. Then we go over the character formatting controls, kerning, and then let's introduce, for instance, 50. Much better, much cleaner. Remember that the purpose of the kerning is to create some distance between two letters in the same word. Okay, time to jump to the next task. If we check our PDF, we have another drop cap, but this time that letter, the E letter, is inside a black box. This black box is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of the paragraph, and then the text is flowing normally. Let's do it. I will zoom in more or less here. Then let's go inside our text box. Let's create a paragraph break. And this time, as we want to create that kind of box with the letter inside, we cannot do it in the same way as we did it before. We will need to create that box with the letter inside independently. Then let's hit the text tool, one click outside of our text box, and we create another text box independently. Here we should type in letter E and we apply the correct format. Arial, regular, size 30. Then Ctrl or Command B, text frame options, and we choose align center. Okay, then we use again align center justification. We have already our letter in the middle of the box. Now we need to change the colors. The color of this letter is white. Selection tool. Once the container is selected, then we go over the fill, not the straw, and we choose black color. Perfect. Then we select our box and we place it in the correct position. But we are covering some text right now, so we need to use another tool we learned in the past, the text wrap options. Once our box is selected, I go over the text wrap menu, one click, and let's hit this second option, wrap around bounding box. Then we play with the offset and specifically with the right offset. The chain is off, so we can use it freely, and let's introduce here at least 2 millimeters. The box is taking now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, as in our example, but we could play easily with the shape of our box. I can stretch out the box from here and make this box a bit longer, and the same with the width. Once we are happy, we could use this another option. This little blue box can anchor this object to a specific position in our text. Anyways, we will not do it right now because it's very soon. We are learning a lot of things in this class and we haven't seen before the anchor objects, but we will see it in the future. Anyways, in order to go faster, I will make a copy of this text box using Alt key. Click and drag while I hold Alt key, and then I have another box with the same properties. I can place this box, for instance, here, move the text box using the arrow keys, and adjust my placeholder text manually. I will introduce another paragraph break, one here and even another one. Then selection tool, I click on my box and I move it using the arrow keys. This time I will keep everything as it is except the font of this letter. I don't want to use the Arial anymore. This time, instead of a sans serif font, I will use a serif font. For instance, Minion Pro. Family regular. Size, instead of 30, 40. Selection tool, one click outside. The text wrap options were the same, so the text is flowing seamlessly, and I find just here one error because after the text box in the middle, we are starting with a capital letter. Double click on the hand tool. Our page is almost finished. We just need to complete the bullet list. If we check our PDF, we have here two different kinds of bullet marks. Text text tool, let's go inside the text box and let's create two different paragraphs. Then I go to the first one, paragraph formatting controls, bulleted list, one click, and then the automatic bullet mark pops up just for that paragraph. If we want to change it, then we should go over this little hamburger icon. We expand this menu. We find here bullets and numbering. Once this panel is open, we expand the list type menu and we select bullets. Here you will find different bullet marks already loaded. But if you want a new one, then we have to hit add. Then, depending on the font, we will find more or less options. We can scroll down using the vertical slider. Let's use this little sun. Once selected, we click OK. Then we select the little sun. The preview is on, so if we move this panel, we'll see the sun already on our page. If we are happy, OK. Let's do the same with the next paragraph. I place the cursor in the correct position. Then again, paragraph formatting controls. I go over the bulleted list. I hit it. Then let's move over the hamburger icon to expand more options, and then we click on bullet and numbering. We want to add another new bullet mark. Then we scroll down. We find this little triangle. OK, we select it. It pops up in our preview already, and we finish hitting OK. Then selection tool, zoom out. In case we wanted to change the position of these boxes, we can do it easily just by clicking and drag the box and drop it in another new position. For instance, here, another paragraph break, new adjustment of the text box, and here we are. And the same with this another box. Once selected, click and drag, I drop it on here for instance, double click inside the text box, enter to introduce another paragraph break, selection tool, click on the text box and I adjust with the arrow keys to be more and more precise. Don't forget that we have hidden text, and in case we want to manage that text, the best option is going over Edit in Story Editor. Once here, I recommend you to expand this screen by click and drag on the lower right corner. Then we scroll down, we select all the text under the red vertical line, even the one below this horizontal line. Once selected, I delete it and I close the story editor screen. We can use the preview visualization by clicking on here or using the shortcut W. So our exercise is completed. Time to say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next episode.